Well, joining me now is the senior BJP leader and the leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Mr. Arun Jaitley. Mr. Jaitley, appreciate your joining us. Let me start with that story. Your call records are being tracked. 4 people have been arrested. Are you worried? Is there something that worries you that someone could be accessing your call records?
Well, as far as I am personally concerned, I am not worried because I don't think there is anything in my call records which could be a cause of worry to me or to anybody else. I find this extremely curious as to why somebody should be attempting to get copies of my call records at all, because there are no transactions which I can conceive of which would be of interest to anybody at all. Therefore, the whole issue for me is a little curiouser and curiouser, as they would say.
Right,
but yes, I am worried. Yes. I am worried on a larger principle, though I have not been briefed by the police on this. Only one formal information was given to me orally that they are investigating the matter and they hope to get to the root of the case. I don't know any details about who the people are and who are the people being arrested.
Yes.
But I am worried on a larger issue. Is it so easy for anybody,
yes,
either within the police system or for somebody outside, to infiltrate into the police system and access somebody's call record? I think this is a much larger issue than my private call record.
But do you believe that the government is behind this, or is it private players?
Well, I have absolutely no idea as to who's behind this. Therefore, I am not in a position to point a finger at anybody or exonerate anybody.
Right.
I only know as much from the media as you know.
Okay, because this is not the first time, Mr. Jaitley, this has happened. It is believed that individuals are accessing several VIPs' call records. So I presume that this is a larger conspiracy and that is the worry here.
Well, you're absolutely right. That's a larger worry, and I do hope the Delhi police honestly gets into the root of the matter and finds out why is this being done and who are the people responsible for it.
Let me then come to the other controversy swirling around you, and it's over the press council chairman Markandeya Katju. Yesterday on my program, Mr. Jaitley, Mr. Katju said you had been reckless and ill-informed in targeting him for criticizing Narendra Modi, saying that he has criticized Congress governments as well, and that you had really stepped out of line, he said, in the manner that you had demanded his resignation.
Well, the Press Council of India is a statutory body. Its chairman discharges statutory and quasi-judicial functions.
Yes.
He is a retired judge of the Supreme Court, but he still discharges quasi-judicial functions. He is a whole-time functionary of the Press Council. Now, my difficulty is that I am unwilling to accept as a matter of propriety. Somebody may have opinions. You are entitled to criticize me. You are entitled to criticize Narendra Modi or the BJP. But can somebody holding a judicial or a quasi-judicial office,
yes,
get into the political domain? If that were to happen, it will spell doom and disaster as far as the rule of law is concerned.
But
can a Supreme Court judge say after 5 o'clock in the evening,
yes,
I am going to make a political speech or write a political article? Tomorrow, if the Press Council is to hear a case against West Bengal or Gujarat or against Bihar,
yes,
are those governments going to suspect that in his capacity after 5 p.m. every evening, he has a strong personal bias against us? Anybody discharging a quasi-judicial functioning,
yes,
by convention has stayed away from politics. All predecessors have stayed away from politics. No chairman of any quasi-judicial tribunal gets into politics. It's the first time that a Supreme Court retired judge, who's a chairman of a quasi-judicial body, has ventured to write an article on politics, making a political appeal.
But as a senior leader and a leader of the opposition, do you think you too could have exercised a bit of restraint in your criticism? You've called him a megalomaniac. You've suggested he's performing a Thanksgiving for the Congress government which is appointing him.
Well, that is because you selectively start targeting non-Congress governments. He starts saying what should be the developmental model of Gujarat.
He says he's targeted the Maharashtra government.
Of India?
He says he's targeted the Maharashtra government. He's targeted Veerbhadra Singh of the Congress.
Yes. Let me tell you, when he targeted the Maharashtra government, there was a lot of criticism even then.
Yes.
Because as a press council chairman, he said, let us issue a show cause notice why Article 356 should not be imposed.
But sir,
now, is it within the press council's domain to impose Article 356? Is it an authority? It's a statutory authority. It can't go haywire. It must act within the domain of the law. And I think as a public representative, it is my duty that if somebody is breaching the law, breaching all conventions,
yes,
and getting into the political domain when he should not be, it's a point which requires to be flagged.
But sir, you know, this tutu meme, BJP spokesperson now calling Katju a vagabond, does it do any credit to anyone? As I come back to it, you are a senior leader, leader of opposition. Could you have handled it with a little bit more restraint and dignity?
Well, I have handled it with the utmost restraint. I think you've asked a very good question that there should be no tutu meme. Therefore, I have not spoken on it. I wrote about it. I think the person who indulged in a tutu meme is the gentleman who's been given interviews on every channel yesterday. And those interviews that he has given do not bring any credit to the institution where he was a judge.
So how do you respond to Digvijay Singh of the Congress saying that the reason Arun Jaitley took on Markanday Katju is that it involved Narendra Modi? Mr. Jaitley is beholden to Mr. Modi because he is a Gujarat Rajya Sabha MP. That's why this issue has come to the forefront. That in the past when Mr. Katju has made political statements, you did not respond. But now because Modi has been brought in, you've attacked him.
Well, in the article, if Mr. Digvijay Singh has read,
yes,
I categorically mentioned that I am conceding to anyone a right, including to Mr. Justice Katju, to have an opinion against us. He is entitled to his views. I am not denying him the right to have views against Mr. Modi or against Mr. Jaitley or against the BJP. The question is, and this is a larger question, this is the only question that I raise, can somebody occupying a judicial or a quasi-judicial office so openly and blatantly participate in politics? Can the chairman of the Press Council of India appear on a BJP platform? Can the chairman of the Law Commission appear on a Congress platform and start delivering speeches? Can they issue electoral appeals? It's a larger question I am raising to you.
But will you then?
Never happened in this country. This is the first time it's happened.
So am I to understand that with Parliament starting, you will call for Mr. Katju's resignation on the floor of Parliament? That this is not just a simple matter of one article.
I think it's an important breach of a great convention which has existed in this country, and Parliament as a forum certainly has a right to express its views.
Will you call for his resignation? Are you going to call for his resignation on the floor of Parliament, or is this limited to an article?
I have already, in my article, I have said that since he's got into the political domain, it's better that he resigns. And therefore, that's the same line of argument which the BJP will raise on the floor of the House, if at all.
So you may raise the argument, you may raise it. The reason I'm asking you is because there is a fear that this has now gone out of control.
This has certainly not gone out of control. I would urge everybody to exercise language of restraint. It's a very serious issue. It's an issue of constitutional propriety. And a constitutional propriety is we don't want our judges serving or retired as long as they are discharging judicial and quasi-judicial functions to participate in politics.
But in hindsight, do you believe using words like megalomaniac and suggesting that Mr. Katju was a Congress agent, do you have any regrets?
No, I have not said Congress agent. That's not my language. I have not referred to any individual as a megalomaniac. He should not think that the cap fits him. I have said a retired judge or a sitting judge is expected to exercise restraint. He is expected to act with a lot of dignity. He cannot be loud, crude, or behave like a megalomaniac.
Yes.
Then I go on to explain as to why, what is my criticism in this.
Yes.
That's a preamble of the article where I've explained how judges and retired
judges. So you have said he appears to be more Congress than the Congress party. Effectively, you have also directly targeted him.
Well, obviously I have targeted him. I am not denying the fact. And so I have targeted him on the question of propriety.
Right.
Because if he participates in politics, then he can't be a judge, a politician in a judge's clothing.
So tomorrow if he targets a Congress leader,
and then say I am a judge.
Tomorrow if he targets a Congress leader, will you have the same approach, or is it only because it was Narendra Modi involved?
Well, if he targets the Congress leader within the domain of the press council functioning, he'll be entitled to do that. But if he starts politicking, then I'm afraid he doesn't have the authority to do that. If he wants to get into the political domain targeting one or the other, he must get out of office. If he is to function as a press council chairman, he must confine himself to the issues of the press council.
Let me come to the parliament session itself. Will this session, Mr. Jaitley, as many fear, get hijacked by the Augusta controversy? Because at the moment, the opposition seems determined to look for a flashpoint with the government. Will this be the issue that will hijack this budget session?
Well, we are not looking for a platform to attack this government on. This government repeatedly provides us with that platform. Here you have another deal where the VVIP helicopters have been purchased.
Yes.
Now, it's a case where the bribe giver has been arrested.
Yes.
The transaction in which he has been arrested is known. The quantum of bribes are known. Only the bribe taker has to be identified. The recipient of the bribes has to be identified.
Yes.
And that identification has to take place in India. Therefore, when Mr. Kamal Nath says, let there be a JPC, or the Prime Minister says, let there be a debate, well, a debate is not a substitute for identification. The decision makers in India know who
Yes.
took the decision.
Yes.
What was the process by which the decision was taken?
Yes.
And therefore, amongst the decision makers, who influenced the decision and who could be a possible bribe taker, or somebody outside the system who on behalf of the bribe takers or decision makers took the bribe.
So you're not convinced.
Identification is to take place.
So you're not convinced when the government or Mr. Anthony says, I'm ready to scrap the deal, the government is sending a CBI team to Italy, you're not convinced. You believe all this is an eyewash.
Now, scrapping a deal is not a substitute for identification of a bribe taker.
Right.
Therefore, who is the bribe taker? That basic question remains. In the last 30 years, we've repeatedly been told that middlemen have been eliminated. We all know that the middlemen are operating in the corridors of power. And here there are a few deals where these allegations of bribery come to the surface. They appear to be prima facie true.
Yes.
Therefore, the identification is the responsibility of the government.
But sir, you were law minister, before that additional solicitor general, during Bofors. You are aware as anyone else that tracking the money trail, getting extraditions is not that easy. Are you willing to give the government some time, or are you saying already in your view the government is protecting someone?
Well, the government certainly can have some time. Obviously, investigations do take time. But it's on basis of my earlier experience tells me that if the governments are honest, identifications are possible. Therefore, even in the Bofors case, at least the companies and the persons behind the companies which were the recipients of the money in Switzerland were identified.
Am I to then understand that Arun Jaitley does not believe that the middlemen are the real beneficiary, that there is a political hand behind them?
Well, middlemen get commissions.
Yes.
Bribes go to decision makers or representative of decision makers.
Okay, that's and do you want to because your party has already tried to insinuate, because there is an Italian connection, that somehow or the other the Gandhi family would be involved. Do you believe that's a leap that you're making in your analysis? Do you believe that in election season you're targeting the Gandhi family?
Speaking for myself, I am willing to wait for some reasonable time.
Yes.
By which there can be some evidence of the identification of the bribe taker.
Yes.
I am not willing to exonerate anybody. I am not willing to condemn anybody as of today.
Okay. Another flashpoint, Mr. Jaitley, ahead of this session is Sushil Kumar Shinde. Will your government cooperate with the Home Minister, who is also the leader of the Lok Sabha, or boycott him over his Hindu terror remarks?
Well, Mr. Shinde has to withdraw his comments and express regret over his comments for the simple reason. Without any basis, he accuses the principal political party in opposition, the BJP and the RSS, that you are organizing terror camps. There is absolutely no basis. Nobody has ever suggested that. If we are actually organizing terror camps, we don't deserve to run a government in the states. We don't deserve to exist as a political party. This statement, besides defaming us, besides being false, has now given a lot of fuel as far as Pakistan is concerned. People like Hafiz Syed have accepted and lapped up the statement and have started saying, we always told you so that India is organizing terror camps. The Home Minister of India says so. What kind of a Home Minister we have who without application of mind makes such an irresponsible statement in an August gathering in Jaipur? Therefore, since he obviously has committed a mistake deliberately or otherwise, he has to make amends for it.
Are you saying that until Mr. Shinde apologizes, you will continue to boycott him in Parliament?
Well, I am not indicating our final action at the moment, but all that I am suggesting at the moment is our party is extremely serious. We are hurt as far as the statement is concerned, and we expect the Home Minister of India to end this impasse by withdrawing this statement.
You know, Mr. Jaitley, many believe that this budget session is a teaser before the general elections. The general elections could happen any time in the latter half of this year. There is already talk that Mr. Narendra Modi could be the head of the BJP's campaign committee. Am I to understand that that is now a real possibility? Because there's been much speculation over that. But are you among those who believe the time has come for Narendra Modi to move from Gandhinagar to Delhi?
Well, he certainly is a very important leader of the BJP. He is an extremely popular leader in the country. What responsibility is assigned to him as far as the elections are concerned is a matter which the party will decide. Now, of course, his entire ability is going to be used by the party to its fullest. But what responsibility is given, you certainly don't expect me in the course of this program to make an announcement of that.
No, but is there, in your circumspection, am I to detect a worry that if Narendra Modi moves to Delhi, your NDA alliance could fall apart? Is that a genuine concern? Because you know Nitish Kumar also well, which is why the BJP doesn't seem to be making giving us a clarity on Narendra Modi's role in the next 1 year.
Well, please don't jump to any conclusion. We know how to handle our affairs and we'll handle them reasonably effectively.
Well, I know you've been very straight in all the questions, but on the Modi question somehow, I sense that the BJP still is uncertain what role he should play. Am I to understand that exactly whether he should lead your campaign, whether he should be your prime ministerial face? Is there some element of confusion in the ranks, in the leadership of the BJP, even if the rank and file wants Narendra Modi?
There is a decision-making process in the BJP. Yes. That decision-making process has its own dynamics. It will take its own time. It can't be pushed by a public debate and the groundswell in favor of Narendra Modi in a particular manner. We'll keep all these factors in mind, and as the party president has said, at an appropriate time, we'll decide this issue.
Mr. Arun Jaitley, I appreciate your joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.